Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In my previous video I promised you that I'll be back with the finished journals, the Wuthering Heights young journals. These are the ones that I showed you the ephemera for. If you remember, I showed you this stash of ephemera that I built for these two journals. As you can see, I have now neatly stacked them into two piles. So these are the piles that are going into each book. I'll show you the ephemera later. Let me get rid of the bags. So by way of finishing touches, what I did here is add the tassels. And just adjust the closure just a bit, and that's about it. All right, so before I get into the journals, I also wanted to show you this new tray with ephemera pieces that will also go into these books. I will be showing you these in just a bit. Let me go into the journals first. Let's say this is book 2. I'm going to keep it aside and start with book 1. So with this one, my aim, I hope you guys can see clearly, this is my first time trying to film indoors, so I do not have to move bag and baggage to my patio, where it is very sunny and warm right now. And so yeah, so let's see how this goes. I hope the lighting is okay. So this has a fabric covered upcycled cardboard cover with a seam binding closure, and both these books will come with some extra sari silk, so you can switch these out if you so wish, and you can go for a longer closure to wrap around. Oops, I'm sorry, I bopped the camera. The angle is a wee bit awkward for me. I'm trying to work around the tripod so you get a better view. I hope it's not inconvenient. And here's the tassel. What do we have here? Sari silk in whites and beiges. There's some recycled fabric, repurposed fabric. There's gold yarn, gold trim, gold vine trim. Oh, sorry. There is this bead dangle that I made, and a few of these have buttons sewn on them, just to give them a good fall, like drape. And then there's some crochet trim, and then the pearl trim, some hemp cord, seam binding, dyed seam binding, etc. The spine is this plush trim. So there are 3 different trims covering this area, and the I'm sorry the fabric is a jute linen fabric. That's a Tim Holtz bookplate. And let's get started. I'm going to be looking at this book after a long time, so don't mind if I sound surprised by something I see. So what's happening with the cover is it's in 2 layers. The first layer, the one on top, was upholstered. Like I stitched the fabric on, and then I adhered the inner piece, the inside cover, that's glued on. So all I'm trying to say is this one has no rough edges, no raw edges, no fraying, etc. It's all very sturdy and well finished. And like I mentioned in my previous video, the one on the ephemera, This is a sponsored project. The papers were sent to me as part of a guest design team assignment by Bob and Betty India. This is their roseate collection, and in this book you'll see the pattern papers, which is one of which is here, very sturdy cardstock, double-sided. And then apart from the pattern paper, I've also used their decoupage papers, which are like rice papers for used for decoupage. And then there is another set of decoupage, specialty decoupage papers from the same roseate collection that I've used here. I'll be pointing those out as we go through the book. Okay, let's get in. Oh, and most importantly, the theme is Wuthering Heights. I have dreamt of one of these books for a long time. The book is Wuthering Heights is one of my favorites, and this was long overdue. And you will see quotes from the book on a number of pages. All right, let's get in. I've left this plain because it's beautiful. This is some book page, botanical book page. Love how the colors are working together. And that's some dyed plain ledger paper. If you buy ledger printer paper, this is what you get. It's like a pale green paper. Here's a I'm sorry about the smacking, just a sec. Yep. Okay, here's a pocket. This is from the collection. Of course, it's a pattern paper, just a stained doily. This is from a different paper pack, the wood grain. And then there's ledger. Then there's dyed paper. I hope the colors are visible. This the camera is kind of washing out the colors just a bit. So this is actually a very dark coffee dye. And then more ledger, and then there's a tiny tuck spot here. I shouldn't lose track of the insert. Yeah, this. Moving on, there's more ledger. Then there's a tuck spot here. Just some collaging. I was really into collaging when I was working on this. So here you have elements from the paper pack, the flower, the leaves. This is from a washi sticker roll that I have. And then there's some vintage book page that my friend Terry Wood sent along in her Happy Meal to me. And then that's some brown paper, which must have been upcycled from some packaging lying around in the house. This is also a quote from the book, and this is the rice paper like decoupage paper from Bob and Betty that I was telling you about. The texture is amazing, and in fact you can even write on it. You can journal write on it. Craft paper, more ledger, and another of these tiny pockets. This is some lab journal paper. And then the center of the first signature has this envelope which I've left open, more like a folder. I've left it open in case you wanted to use this for journaling or add pockets to it for storing, because I will have all this ephemera available to you. So if you'd like, you could just attach one of these here. So the reason I didn't seal this. And another of those skinny pocket pages. Sorry, okay, I hope that's a good enough view. And then ledger, graph paper. I see a collage coming up. What do we have here? There's some a doily DG. I think this is Little Bindy, Johanna. And then that's a reference to the book. And then this is a cut cut apart. It's these flowers are fussy cut from the collection. Man, I cannot talk. Sorry guys, I am just a wee bit dull today. Another quote from the book, and as you can see, there's stitch detailing on almost every other page. The other book in this collection does not have stitch detailing on the pages, like I have mentioned in my previous video. Okay, another quote. I hope you can see this color. It's a really rich brown, the coffee stain page, and then ledger, and then the other side of the wood grain tag, and a tiny snippet here, some linen fabric, tiny bit of washi sticker, and then more book pages. Okay, this is the second signature. This is the end of the second signature. This is a pocket. That's the idea. And this image is from an older adaptation of Wuthering Heights. And then there's a quote from the book and more quotes. The paper is absolutely stunning, as you can tell, and it's very sturdy cardstock. This is a very sturdy book. Like, I don't know, if you are thinking of this as a wedding guest book, don't worry about it getting spoiled if many people are handling it. It's really sturdy. That's, now you know why I said wedding guest book. Sorry about my throat, guys. I would have paused the video and taken a break, but YouTube doesn't allow me to do that, and so we'll go right back. This is from the paper pack. This is absolutely stunning. I could not believe how beautiful this paper pack was. Okay, trying to focus. Yeah, so that's the other side. So we have entered the third signature. We're not doing so badly on time. This is a book page, botanical book page. It's this I thought I had the book around anyway. And then some ephemera from my stash. This is Tsunami Rose, and tiny bit of ledger paper, more of the lab book, the lab journal paper, and then a pocket here, and here's a bit of a collage. I hope that's visible. That's a quote, and some vintage book page, Tim Holtz tissue wrap, and these are Tsunami Rose flowers. Another skinny pocket coming up using the graph paper, and then these bags. Again, I've left them unembellished because, you know, that entire stash of ephemera is going to be yours, so decide what you want. Not that one maybe, but you could pick any of the narrower ephemera pieces and just attach it here. And then more ledger, and another tiny ephemera piece. That's Tsunami Rose again. There's this big envelope that I have left open. You can always seal it, and that's also from a Bob and Betty paper pack, but not the Roseate collection. It's just a paper pack that I felt coordinated in parts with Roseate. Okay, and then a bit of a doily, and then some vintage book page, and a quote right there, and another tiny collage with a vintage lady. She's just from my stash. That's not from either of these brands that I mentioned. And then the other end of that paper bag, and a skinny pocket again. That's the graph paper. That's staining that I did. And the other end of the wood grain tag and the lab journal page, and then ledger and a tiny detail there with some doily brown paper and another vintage lady from my stash, and then more of that beautiful botanical book. And here we have a pocket. So there was no way I could cover up this beautiful paper, the beautiful pattern paper. So I had to do something where, oops, give me a sec, guys. Okay, so this is how it's supposed to work. Wow, that looks nice. This is the first time I'm actually setting the ephemera in these pockets and looking at them. So that's the idea. And a bit of detailing using the paper pack, some doilies from my stash. This, by the way, guys, I'm sorry, I was wrong. This was the second signature. So these are the first two signatures that we just covered. This is the third signature. I love this image. Sorry, I had promised I'll get the name of the illustrator for you. I'm gonna put it in the description box. I really need to look him up. I collected the digitals way back, so not able to remember the name somehow. And that is a quote. I felt it went perfectly with the image. I think these are from the same scene where Heathcliff meets Catherine one last time, and when she's on her deathbed. Yep. This is sorry about that, guys, that sounded weird, and sorry about bopping the camera again. Just a sec. Yeah, I was getting messages and stuff. Okay, so this is the other side of this beautiful paper. There's like a card that's filled with roses, and then the other side has the beautiful vintage script and florals, and like how the florals are working together again. And then there's more tsunami rose ephemera and another of these pockets. Let's show you a bigger one here. Yep, sort of like that. And another skinny pocket here, more ledger, another paper bag, brown paper bag, and there is some there's a quote. Sorry, how lost am I today, guys? I'm sorry. I had a bit of a difficult day yesterday. It's all okay now, but here I am. Okay, so more tsunami rose ephemera, and then the graph paper, it folds up into a skinny pocket this way. And we have ledger, the second folder or envelope, whichever way you wish to see it. This collection is also from the coordinating collection, not roseate, the paperback from the same brand, Bob and Betty. More ledger. This is graph paper, and this is another tiny detail. I hope you can see that. And I see another collage coming up. Sorry, I'm having to do that because the tassel was getting in the way. There's a collage here. This is the specialty decoupage paper I was telling you about. This has a beautiful texture. It's kind of like a canvas. That's what it is. And then distressed ripped edges. And that's also from the movie. I think Laurence Olivier and Merle Oberon, I think that's her name. And more ledger, another skinny pocket, This is, of course, as you can tell, it's a writing journal out and out, but of course it will also come with a big stash of ephemera. So depends on where and in what way you wish to use them. I'll try not to attach them so that you have autonomy. Okay, and another quote from the book on a half page, and another of the beautiful botanical book page. And then there is this pocket again, similar to the one we saw. I'm scared I might like rip it or something. I think I should go for a smaller one. Sorry, that was my mistake. But this is supposed to be the one. Let's just say that. And that's how it goes. And then there is some detailing here using cutter parts from the collection. Close yet. And that is the end of the first book. Wow, we are at 20 minutes. I am going to stop here, guys. Okay, this is some Hobby Lobby trim, and that's the tassel. Sorry if I went out of frame there. And I'm gonna stop this video and come right back for the other one. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. See you again. Love you all. Bye bye.